Hey True Believers, it's Cole coming to you from my underground bunker, secret location, as Hurricane Bill rages overhead. It's not really a hurricane at this point, more like a tropical storm, so don't worry about me. But there might be a bit of a delay between when I'm recording this and when you're seeing it. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, enough of that. What else? I've got a nice round number of subscribers now. I'm up to 20. Yay! That's kind of cool. So thanks to everybody who's subscribed, taking a chance on me, and anybody else who's been following and watching and maybe hasn't subscribed. Yeah, I guess you don't have to. It's cool. It's good for my ego, but there's more important stuff going on. So whatever. I just hope I'm reaching people and what I'm doing is good. Whether it's a lot of people or a few, it's for fun and that sort of thing. But to those subscribers, thanks a lot. Okay, so today we're going to talk about a very famous writer in comicdom, Alan Moore. If you don't know Alan Moore, I'm sure you've probably at least heard of some of the things that he's responsible for. League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Watchmen, V for Vendetta, the list goes on. But anyway, he's a possibly famous writer of these days. But he came out of the 80s, an English writer, probably fairly unknown in North America in a lot of ways. And what really got him noticed was a run on the DC comic Swamp Thing. And that's not what I'm going to talk about today, although it is a very significant thing. This is some of the stuff he got to do afterwards as a result of him basically single-handedly almost turning Swamp Thing around and making it a very popular and good title. So this is within the DC universe, some other stuff that he got to do in the 80s as a result of that, and this is a collection called DC Universe, The Stories of Alan Moore. There you go. Nice. Cover all these characters involved. This shows 13 separate things that he did within the DC Universe. A couple of them are some of them are very short. The longest ones are basically two-issue stories. The most major probably being the celebrated Superman story, Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, which is sort of like a fake epilogue for Superman. This was back in 1986, I believe, to symbolize the ending of the current titles and the beginning of new ones. Anyway, it was a just for fun, out of continuity, 10 years later, retrospective, Whatever Happened to Man, just saying about Superman's final days. So that's the big story in here, and it's fairly good read, a lot of interesting stuff going on. I'm not a big Superman reader, but it incorporates a lot of popular and interesting things, characters in the Superman world. He crams in a lot, but I don't think it's too much, and I think it's a very satisfying story. The other big one is Batman, The Killing Joke, which again was not supposed to be really a big deal. It was a two-issue story, but it became a big deal because it had a huge impact on Batman and DC continuity that's felt to this day, namely the decision to have our pal here, the Joker, shoot and wind up paralyzing Barbara Gordon, the original Batgirl and daughter of Commissioner Gordon. And this would have lasting effects. She would remain paralyzed, and still is, and obviously this ended her career as Batgirl, and eventually she became Oracle. These were other writers that decided that, not just have her shoved to the side and have her still contribute, which is great, but I don't know what Moore's thoughts were. I don't even know if Moore really cared if it was to be a lasting effect or not, or if he was going to care if people were just going to magically, or whatever, make her heal. But anyway, something that's cool is that she didn't, and somewhat realistic, and it also, added new things to the character, opened the doors for other things. Now we have a new Batgirl. Anyway, Moore doesn't even really think of the story as that great. I think it is really good. There's a lot of critical acclaim out there, naming it as one of the best Batman stories out there, and definitely one of the best Joker ones. It's good, It's pretty simple, straightforward. It's only 2 issues, so it doesn't build to a lot. The Joker escapes once again, blah, 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 shows up at the Gordon home, shoots Barbara, and then, because he's so sadistic, also, while her father watches, he takes some pictures of her, takes her clothes off, and takes pictures of that, and the whole idea, eventually, is he takes Gordon away with him to this circus that he'd rented out and made up, and the idea was to drive Gordon insane by bombarding him with horrifying images, plus obviously fresh in his mind the memory of what had happened to his beloved daughter. And that we've sort of seen that used again. It's even been used in the Batman film The Dark Knight, where we see the Joker, trying to impose his own madness upon the world, saying, he's not really crazy, the world is crazy, he's, just trying to show us what the world really is, and that we're crazy, we're fooling ourselves for not understanding the random injustice and craziness in this world, blah, blah, blah. So I won't go any further into that, because there's a lot more to cover. Anyway, those two stories, of course, are sold separately. Sold separately, sounds like a toy commercial, but anyway, you know, in their own editions on their own. But if you ask me, they're not really worth getting separately, even though they might have nice hardcovers, and I know at least The Killing Joke has a deluxe edition where some different things have been done, including it was recolored. The colorist, whose name I'll pop up here, had some lingering, I guess, doubts after that his coloring didn't go the way he wanted it to, so he recolored it the way that he always wanted it to be seen. Plus, flashback stuff is done in black and white rather than color, which you'll see here. But if that really matters to you, fine, go out and get the separate. But if you ask me, this is the thing to get. You can get those two stories together in the same edition, and they look nice and everything. Plus, there's all this other stuff. Really nice examples of Alan Moore's writing. Like I said, some are very short, little, brief vignettes, like this story. There are 3 separate Green Lantern stories, all about different Green Lanterns. I think I enjoy those a lot. They have little twists to them, little twist endings, and just neat little ideas. There's a story here about a little-known character, the Vigilante. It's a 2-part one called Father's Day. It has a lot to do with domestic abuse. It's not great. It's all right. It's an interesting enough read. We've also got The Stranger. I believe that's The Stranger. Consulting my notes here, The Phantom Stranger, of course. Yes, we have a Phantom Stranger story, which is sort of a juxtaposition of 2 stories. One is the war between the angels and heaven, and it also shown alongside this is sort of like a turf war amongst various gangs in sort of like living in the underground of a large city, around the subway tunnels and that sort of thing. Not brilliant, but again, a good read. I think most people to pick this up is for the Superman, the Batman, but there's definitely some good examples of the reading here, including one of the issues of the Swamp Thing run where he meets Superman and winds up saving Superman's life. There we go. There's a little bit of it, and that's good stuff. He really did have a handle on Swamp Thing, and maybe I'll talk about that one day, because like I said, it was something I certainly didn't know much about years ago, and then read the Alan Moore stuff and really gained an appreciation for the character, and it was really good reading. Really good storytelling. What else is in here? Besides Moore, you have a few names. Klaus Janson, you'll find him in here. George Perez, Dave Gibbons, who of course has very famously worked with Moore elsewhere, most notably Watchmen. Trying to think what else can be said about this. There's a neat Batman story here with a different Clayface, not the Matt Hagen Clayface, but a different one. Again, it uses Moore's dark, moody storytelling and really focuses sort of on the psychological things in this. This Clayface, he's been living in an apartment store, and he's fallen in love with a mannequin, and he's so far gone that, you know, he believes that she's real, and Batman is in it, of course, and winds up thwarting him. I don't think that ruins anything for you, but Batman's almost like a secondary character. Batman's almost sort of like his being there is just, you know, incidental, almost. It's really just about him and this obsession with this mannequin. Interesting read. Not a lot of writers were doing that sort of stuff at the time, I don't think. You'll see more of it now. I'm not saying Moore is the first person to put psychological stuff into comics, far from it. I'm just saying he does a good job of it. It's easy for me to gush about this sort of thing because I definitely am the converted when I talk about Moore. I really do think he's brilliant. I have read a lot of his stuff, and some of it I just flat out love. Again, I don't think there's anything groundbreaking or brilliant in here, but it's interesting to see his take on some of these more well-known DC Universe heroes, and I think it's just definitely a worthwhile collection to get. Like I said, unless you're really a stickler and you really care about certain things, like having the Batman have it stand alone by itself, or the Superman, which I'm sure there's an edition of too, I think it's better to get them both collected here together with the other stuff. I think that's a better value and better just to have together, but to each his own. Anyway, I guess I've done it again. Talked a lot, don't know how much great information I've given, but again, it's something I recommend. Obviously, I talk about stuff I like because it's stuff I own. It's not like I'm can't be critical, but you know, I'm here mostly to talk about the things that I enjoy and that I think you should check out or give a chance to, and that sort of thing. So, okay, I'm not sure what I'll do next time, but I'll see you next time, and that'll be soon, hopefully. I'll be back in my usual spot. Until then, Excelsior. Peace.